Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, this is going to be another video. I'm going to try to make it short and more precise to help you understand what you're doing on an unconscious level that gets you caught up in your head and actually ruins your life. These are traps that were essentially built and or set inside your brain through beliefs and values and rules and things that are just not true in order to keep you stuck. The whole goal of my program, what I've done my entire life, even going all the way back to 1991 when I attended my first Tony Robbins seminar, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to help people to escape the traps, the fears, the anxieties, and the what this video is about, the unconscious mind games that we all play on ourselves on accident because of what has been done to us, and really the stuff that people taught us, people we looked up to, such as our teachers, coaches, and our parents, and even older siblings, that just isn't true. Do you want to know what my mission statement is? Now, I developed this about a year later at another Tony Robbins seminar around 92, 93, and it was called Date with Destiny. And here's what it is: to motivate myself and others to believe, dream, and be alive with passion, power, and excitement. You know, here I was, winning at boxing and kickboxing on the state and national level, racing, BMX racing, football, wrestling in high school, going to the state championship, Division II wrestling at Chico State, etc., etc. And a lot of people around me, when I say a lot, I mean a lot of people around me, they basically just went and got jobs. They weren't doing anything with their life. They weren't even trying, and I couldn't understand that. Now in this video, I'm going to unravel something that I've been leading up to or building over the last two videos, this being the third. What human beings do on an unconscious level is they have these phrases, words, meanings, beliefs, things they unconsciously picture or say to themselves that are absolutely not true, that hold them back and keep them in a state of fear, state of doubt, or just a belief of, oh, I can't do that because, and some bullshit reason. Okay, I turned the music down a tiny little bit. I'm going to turn it down a little bit more in about 15 seconds. So what this video is going to be about is helping you to unravel these knots that you have inside your brain without even realizing that they're there. So today we're going to go over mind reading a little bit again, presuppositions. We're going to go over complex equivalence. This means that, and I'm going to add something in called cause and effect. The reason why I'm doing this is because I realized through avoidance that this is, it's something I learned back in, probably 93 during NLP training, my first practitioner training, something maybe even earlier than that. And I've known of it. In fact, I work with clients on this all the time. I've been doing it back then. So everything that I've been teaching in the last couple of videos, this is what I do with you when you walk in the door. My first thing I'm doing is going, okay, what are their mind reads? What are their cause and effects? What's their complex equivalence? In other words, what is your deletion, distortions, and generalizations that are holding you back that you have inside your head? That's why this video is titled Shatter the Chains That Hold You Back, Therapy for Avoidance and You. Breaking free from the psychological limitations inside your mind. We find here's what we do. So we find what's going on inside you that's holding you back, and then we unravel it so you can be free from it. It's like, like a ball of yarn that gets all knotted up and all these, it gets intertwined, and it's like a whole, like usually cats do it, right? We pull one piece at a time so you become more and more free. A lot of times when you get that one piece free, it loosens up 10 different pieces. So now you're more free. What the purpose is, the goal, is so you can thrive in life, whether it's finding the right partner, to date people that are better for you, to go after your dreams, achieve your goals, make more money, etc., etc. Now here's the point. Okay, that is a good example of what I'm talking about. The whole purpose, the whole point of all of this is that a lot of people will look at other people and be like, man, God, they're so lucky. They're not lucky. They just don't have the limitations, the limiting beliefs and things that you were taught or you learned, even if it was a well-meaning parent or brother or sibling that meant something well, but it actually was one of the worst things they could have said to you. So when we're growing up, we learn things such as, okay, my mother, and I don't mean this as a bad thing. I'm not saying, oh, this is, I mean, it was a bad thing that affected me and my siblings bad, but I don't think she meant it from a bad place. She went through a horrible divorce. She lost her restaurants and et cetera, et cetera. Like, so there's a lot of financial pain behind this. And she said, and I remember the first time she said it to me, she said, the more money you have, the more stress you have. Number one, that is absolutely not true at all. The more money you have, the more freedom you have, the more power you have, the more ability to create your life and your journey you have. All right, so I'm going to ask you a question right now. Which belief is true, hers or mine? So hers, the more money you have, the more stress you have. Mine, the more money you have, the more freedom you have, the more power you have to create your life and the things you want to do with your destiny. So which one is true? A, my mother's, or B, mine? That's right, they're both false. Neither one is true. They're just beliefs. Beliefs are not true. The question is, which one actually supports you more? Which one empowers you? Which one keeps you trapped, stuck, and miserable? Which one is more likely, at least, to help you to achieve more happiness and success in life and make more money? Now, these are both generalizations and distortions. They're not true. They're just beliefs. And that's the thing a lot of you don't understand. Beliefs are absolutely not true. I am telling you right now, the more money you have, I mean, I've never sat there and made more money and been like, man, I'm so stressed. Oh my, what am I going to do with these $100 bills in my hands? Oh my God. Now, here's another belief my mother had that she taught us for many, many a year. I mean, definitely over a decade. In fact, probably longer than that. So if let's say when we were little kids, we were watching the Donnie and Marie TV show. That was a show back in the 70s where this brother and sister, I think they were twins, but I'm not sure about that. And they had this TV show and they would sing and they were Christians. I think they were Mormon, yeah. And they would talk about God and they were just really good singers and good dancers and entertainers. And they made a lot of money and their dad was very rich too. So my mom, after every show or during the show, was like, oh, they're so lucky to be born that way. And she would always say that. So let's say we're watching the Academy Awards and we're all sitting in the living room together, me and my brothers and sisters and mom. And she's, oh, they're so lucky. And I'm like, why is that, Mom? Oh, they were just born that way. You know, the only reason why they're successful is because they're born that way. The only reason Donnie and Marie have a show is because they were just born naturally good singers. And she would literally say that. Like, in her mind, it's almost as if she never heard of practice. She never heard of rehearsal. She never heard of training. And to be quite honest with you, in her mind, I don't think she even thinks training or practicing has anything to do with becoming talented. There's no such thing as naturally born talent. Now, here's the thing about me. When I first started sports, I sucked. And I mean, I sucked. Alright, so after I was a state champion in boxing, I won a spring nationals in BMX when I was a kid. I did martial arts, I did baseball, blah, 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 you know, captain of the team, etc. I got into wrestling in high school. Well, here's the thing. Everyone was like, dude, you can't do that. I'm like, why not? Well, you don't know how to do that. And here's the thing. They were right. But in my mind, I remember thinking, well, of course, I mean, I don't know how to do it. I've never practiced. But by the end of my first year, I started on the varsity. So here we were growing up, and then we'd watch, say, the Olympics, and my mom would be like, oh, you know, especially ice skating. I love to watch ice skating. My family did. And my mom was like, oh, they're so lucky to be so naturally talented. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, oh, well, Michael, you know, you could never do that. You've got to be born like that. And she would always say you've got to be born talented. You got to be born an Olympic medalist. Like, you're just born and poof, you never practice. You show up one day and you just win the Olympics in one event. Now, here's the deal. She actually believed that Is that true? Yes or no? No, those people had to work their ass off, just like me. I remember when I first started boxing, everyone in my family would like, what are you doing? You don't know how to box. You've never done that before. And again, they were right. I'd never done it before. But in my mind, I'm like, well, yeah, that's why you go to practice. That's why you start doing competitions to get experience, to get better, and you practice and practice and practice. So what am I sharing with you? In my mind, well, of course, it was. See, I looked at them and like, God, they are so stupid. Like, and it's like I would try to explain, like, yeah, but that's why you go to practice. Like, oh, Michael, you're not ever going to be any good at that, because in their mind, they didn't know how to do it, so I couldn't do it. I mean, what was I thinking? I was crazy. I lost my first match by 1 point to the former 2-year-in-a-row state champion. I lost by 1 point to the state champion. He won the state championships 2 years in a row. He was born into a boxing family. His dad owned a boxing gym in southern Wisconsin. This kid had been boxing since he was like 3 years old. And this was my first boxing match. I think I'd only trained for like 5 months before I had my first match. Well, talking about crying, I cried and cried and cried, and I mean, I cried hysterically in front of the crowd, and I did not give a shit, because I lost by 1 point, and my coach was like, Mikey, you did really good, and I said to him, I'm going to be the state champion this year, and the state championships were, I think, like 6 months away or something like that, and he goes, oh, Mikey, you know, that's going to take at least 3 or 4 years. No, I'm going to be the state champion, and sure enough, oh my God, dude, I became a psycho kid. I was running 7 miles a morning before school 5 days a week, and I would do 200 push-ups, 200 push-ups, 200 sit-ups, 200 jumping jacks, shadow box for like 15-20 minutes, and I was drenched before I even ran. I went undefeated and I won the state championship. Here's my point. What if I listened to my brother, my mother, or whoever, and they said, well, you can't do that. You don't know how to do that. I'm like, you know what? You're right. I can't do that. Do you think I would have been the state champion? Here's my point. I had an experience with an avoidant for a while, and at one point, okay, watch this. So now we're going to get back to avoidance and empaths and these things called mind reading and complex equivalence and stuff. So the thing about empaths is we are taught to always see the good in people, and because of that, we get taken advantage of. And we're taught to help people, to be there for people, and because of that, no one's there for us. We have this belief that we always got to help people. We got to put people ahead of us. Well, avoidants go through the same thing, and what happens is everyone uses them, and so they're needy. Like, oh, and here, okay, watch this. Now, watch the diabolicalness of this. On the one hand, now check this out. Their own parents, their own brothers and siblings, sisters and siblings, they tell the avoidant, be independent. Don't rely on others. Do it for yourself. Take care of yourself. Be independent. Be strong. At the same time they're telling them to be independent, they're always telling them, hey, I need you to mow the lawn. Can you help me with my homework? Can you help me do the dishes? Can you help me fix my car? Can you help me do this at the grocery store? Can you help me this? Can you help me? So their needs become the avoidance needs. So on the one hand, the avoidant has to do everything for everyone else. But then the avoidant is told, don't ask for help. Don't rely on anyone else. Don't let other people help you. And that's what happens. Avoidants get to the point where they won't let anyone help them no matter how bad they need it, because they think, well, I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to stand on my own 2 feet and rely on myself and be independent. Because anything other than 100% solidarity all by myself is weakness, and therefore I'm going to be dependent on other people, and therefore they can control me. And at the same time, they're constantly being told to do for others. So when they finally escape this system, they're like, F that. So here, okay, watch this. Here's what happened. Now, I didn't know anything about avoidance at the time, but as I reflect back now that I've learned, like, oh, because she gave me a really funny look. And I said, you know what we could do? We could make a YouTube video. It'll bring in more clients. I'll make more money, blah, 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 blah. I can take you shopping, etc. And she looked at me. She goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. She leaned away. And that's the thing I noticed, like this, it was like an avoidant body language. And I was like, whoa, what the hell is this? And she goes, I think you need to rely on yourself. Look, I've literally made over 1,000 videos by myself. This isn't something I can't do. Now here's the point of all of this. So I've taught you mind reading in the last video, and I tell you what, I'm going to go over this real quick again, because I'm going to come back to this. Alright, so presuppositions means what is in the sentence and nothing else. So if someone says the dog ran through the living room, well, somebody might go, oh, so the dog's fast. Where does it say the dog is fast? It doesn't say that. You're like, well, yeah, but running is fast. Well, how do you know this isn't a crippled dog or a dog that's on the verge, has got back problems and hip problems? It might have just hobbled in there very slowly, but to the dog, that's its form of running. Okay? So unless it is literally inherently inside the sentence, that would be a mind read. So you can't say, oh, it came from the kitchen. You don't know that because the word kitchen was not in the sentence. So the only thing that is presupposed in the sentence, that's why they call it presupposition, is there's a dog. The dog ran in some way, we don't know how, into the living room. So we know there's a living room, we know there's a ran, and we know there's a dog. That's it. We don't know anything else. The reason why this is so important to understand is because a lot of people will assume stuff. They'll generalize stuff. They'll delete, distort, and generalize. They will make stuff up in their head and go, oh, that must mean blah, blah, blah. That doesn't mean that if they didn't say that. Everyone goes around assuming things, mind reading things. Oh, well, when you say this, that must mean that you think that. It doesn't mean that I think that. I never said that. For those of us on here who have dealt with narcissists, we know this pattern. Years ago, a narcissist invited me to his favorite burrito shop, right? And it was the day of, oh, we got to go here. I'm going to take you. It's on me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, okay. And it was really like he really emphasized this, which I know it was a setup. Because if he just casually asked me, it wouldn't have been, but it was like, you have to go. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go. Okay. It was like, God, like, dude. Well, we finally went. He goes, and not only that, but I went to order. No. I'm going to order you a burrito. You're going to love this burrito. Trust me. I'm like, okay. So I'm in this restaurant. I didn't say a word to anyone about anything. He orders me the burrito. They deliver the burrito. I'm eating the burrito. And immediately he goes, oh, man, I can't believe you. I'm like, I'm looking around. Like, what's going on? He goes, really, man? Seriously? And he looks at the burrito. He looks at me. He looks at the restaurant. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, I go, what's the problem? He goes, really, dude? You, a white guy? Now, he was white too, by the way. Sitting in a Mexican restaurant eating a burrito? I'm like, what's wrong with that? Now, I know this is a setup, but people could actually do this where they take you to a restaurant and you go to a Mexican restaurant, you order a burrito. I'm like, what are you, some kind of racist or something? They're mind reading it. You didn't say anything. You didn't do anything. They just made it up in their head. Now, obviously, this guy was doing this as a game, as a trick, to make me feel bad, to guilt and shame me and all the bullshit, because that's what narcissists do. Now, here's the thing. Now, I've trained in this over. In fact, I'm going through the audio recordings of this training to refresh all this stuff in my mind, and I'm going over mind reading and cause and effect and complex equivalent and all the stuff, presuppositions, etc. So here I am with the avoidant, and I just threw something out there. We were just laughing and goofing around. Oh yeah, we should make a video. We'll make more money. It was just like talking, and she leaned away like, whoa, yeah, I think you need to rely on yourself, because it was so quick. It was such an unconscious reaction of, wait, what? Asking me to do something? Boom, I'm out of here. So months later, I'm watching avoidant videos, and they say one of the things about avoidance is they're going to test you to see if you're needy. If you show any signs of neediness, they're going to leave, because that's the way they were treated their entire life, is people needing them to help and not getting any help in return. So let's go back to my mother's belief of the more money you make, the more stress you have. So that could be under cause and effect. If you do this, this is going to cause this effect. This causes that. That is a cause and effect. So if you make money, you're going to have stress. Now, if you are an ultimate positive thinker, you'd think, cool, bring on the stress because I want to get rich. A really motivated and inspired person for money would say, the more stress you have, the more money you make. That's what Mike's mom said. Because my mother said the more stress you have, the more, or no, sorry, the more money you make, the more stress you have. So someone who's money-minded might be like, and really positive. Really? So if I create more stress, that means I'll have more money? Awesome, I'm in. So is either one of those beliefs true? Sure, why not? So, I'm just kidding. But the thing about it is like, here's the thing, like, you could literally listen to that and absolutely unconsciously switch the meaning. Obviously, my mom meant, don't make money because you're going to be stressed out. But if somebody's like, so that's how you get money? Oh, that's awesome. You could literally, and my mom be like, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. The meaning is bad, not good. So what I would say to you is start questioning the things that you think mean, like complex equivalence. This means that. This is that. Any kind of sentence. So my mother didn't say money. The more money means you're going to be stressed. She just said the more money you have, the more stress you have. She's saying this means this, or this is going to cause this. That's not necessarily true, but I tell you what, if you believe that, now watch, here's the weirdest thing in the world. Let's say you create a business, you start making more and more and more money, and you can't sleep at night, but you don't know why, and you feel stressed. Well, because in your mind, you're thinking, well, more money, more stress. That doesn't necessarily mean that at all. That's literally a made-up belief. So something I've already mentioned in my past videos, last two videos, is the biggest thing about an avoidant, the reason why they avoid you is because they love you. So when they first meet someone, oh, this is going to be fun. We're going to have might even have a lot of sex. We're going to laugh. Well, this person seems so cool, but it's kind of like on an external, like logical level. They don't want to open up emotionally because listen closely what I was about to say unconsciously, because that means danger. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. Some of the beliefs that their parents told them was that if you open up your heart, you're going to get hurt. And they say it to them over, not only that, but I believe a lot of avoidance parents, because I've seen this happen when I was younger, their parents would trick them to open up, and then they would purposely hurt them. And it was their way of teaching, see, I told you, don't open up to people, they're going to hurt you, because that's what that parent believes. Another thing they believe is they're going to lose their freedom. Now, here's the funny thing about avoidance, man. They feel like, well, if I open up my heart and I'm feeling intimate and love for this person, then suddenly, magically, deliciously, I can't say no. Avoidants are the masters of walking away. That is their mastery skill. But suddenly, magically, you're not going to be able to close the door. That's not true at all. Now, here's the thing. An avoidant might be listening to this going, man, you know what? He's right. I walk away the minute I want to. So when you open up your heart and you start to connect with someone on an emotional, intimate level, that doesn't mean you're going to get hurt at all. That doesn't mean someone's suddenly going to be able to control you. And that doesn't mean you're going to lose your independence at all. So when I said this whole thing, now that I've gone from narcissist abuse and understanding avoidance, this thing comes full circle, because it's not a matter of going, oh, there's a red flag, there's a red flag, there's a red flag, because avoidants do the same thing as narcissists, but at a lower level. That's sign number one. Number two is they don't try to trap you to torture you. They try to use it as an excuse, like, oh, you're not a good person, or we're not going to get along because you got the wrong color hair. It's really an excuse for them to pull out, not to trap you and hurt you, but to pull out and to protect themselves from getting trapped or hurt. So the whole purpose of an avoidant is they're doing the opposite of what a narcissist does, but using the same tools. So you're like, wait a minute. So the goal is to become conscious. So I'm going to do this for an avoidant. So instead of just assuming that, okay, here's what it is. Avoidants have a bunch of rules in their head. Well, if someone does this, that means they're going to control me. If someone does that, or if I open my heart, that means this. This does not mean that. So what it means, because what happens is you pull away from really, really good people who have nothing but caring and goodness towards you. So what it means is you need to learn the difference between a good person and a bad person. You need to learn the difference between someone who's going to try to control you and someone who's going to help you become more free. Okay, right there. I already know when I said help you, and avoidant said, uh-oh, that's another cause and effect or complex equivalent. This means that he's going to help me. Why is he going to help me? Because in the past, when they got help, that meant they owed, or that meant they were going to be controlled and guilt-tripped. This is how subtle our unconscious complex equivalences and mind reading and cause and effects and all the other things I have on this list here. We unconsciously trap ourselves. I'm telling you right now, that little tiny thing, when I said it could mean a good person who's going to help you, all of a sudden in the avoidance mind, that's not a good person if they're going to help me. These are just unconscious beliefs and rules, distortions, deletion distortions, and generalizations that you have that keep you trapped and stuck. So if you're wondering, how come I'm not in a loving relationship? How come I'm not making the amount of money I want to make? How come I didn't finish college? How come I don't have the career that I want, or have my business where it's because you have all these little tripwires inside your head. When you can unravel them and go, oh, wait a minute, that's not true at all of a sudden you start to thrive. That's the coaching that I do. Everything that I'm sharing with you, I'll go down this list here. We have mind reading, loss performative, cause and effect, presuppositions, complex equivalent, universal quantifiers, modal operators, unspecified verbs, tag questions, etc., etc. And for each one of these things, we have a series of questions and patterns to pull you out to where you can look at it from a clearer perspective and be like, wow, that's not true at all. And your unconscious mind goes, wait, what? Holy shit. And then it begins to reevaluate your entire life on every time you've said no to someone, walked away from a good person, and you start to see the difference between a bad person and a good person versus just assuming based on any of these nominalizations. See, you can turn these around too, like that imaginary person I made up that said, wait, what did your mother say? The more stress you, or the more money you have, the more stress you have? Wait a minute. That means I need to create more stress, because the more stress I have, that means the more money I'm going to have. I'm serious, and that person will make more money. I am dead serious. Do you want to know how I know? Because 6 years ago when I went through this horrible narcissist abuse, the gang stalking, all the shit that they did to me, do you want to know how I got out of that mentally? Do you want to know how I turned it around? I was stressed, I was scared, I was depressed, I was frustrated. I mean, at an extreme level. I kept saying to myself, that's because I'm awesome, and I kept saying that. It could be anything. You say, man, Mike, that was funny. Yep, that's because I'm awesome. And they'd be like, wait, what does that have to do with being awesome? It didn't matter. My unconscious mind, because I said it over and over, it just became a belief. Wow, you're really good at making those sandwiches. Yep, that's because I'm awesome. And I would say, yep, that's because I'm awesome. It could be, man, thanks for helping, Mike. I really appreciate that. That's because I'm awesome. It didn't matter what they said. So just because, I don't know, I help someone mow their lawn, or just because, it could be something, the stupidest thing in the world. I could say something stupid, something silly, and it's like, that's because I'm awesome. That didn't necessarily mean that I was awesome, but my unconscious mind started to feel awesome. The very thing that's holding you back in life is the key to launching you forward. See, you used to think that beliefs were true and real and solid and written in stone. They're not at all. You used to believe in Santa Claus, right? It's not true. But you used to believe, there was a time in your life when you really believed in the Tooth Fairy and you really believed in Santa Claus. And there was also a time when you truly believed that the narcissist was a good person. You literally felt like they were your best friend. Turned out they were your worst enemy. So, was it true that they were your best friend? No, it wasn't at all. The whole thing was a setup, and you knew it once you figured it out. Do you want to know why that is? That's because you're awesome. Hey Mike, how did you figure all this stuff out? That's because I'm awesome. This reframes every negative thing a narcissist has said to you or done to you. Pretty cool, huh? I just made that up. That doesn't mean that at all. but you could take on that belief and that'll change your life. This is how your brain works. Avoidants, empaths, people that have been hurt, that are kind of caught up and stuck in life, you can change. It's just a belief. It's not real. These are just rules. Every single rule that you've ever heard was made up by someone. Even laws. Every single law was made up. They're not real. They're make-believe. We just, the majority of us just agree to live by them. It doesn't mean it's true. It's made up. Now, here's the deal. You can hire me for life coaching, for NLP, Ericksonian hypnosis, for emotional healing, etc., etc. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, beyond any question, I can change your life. We can find your limiting beliefs, find the complex equivalences and mind reading and stuff you're doing on an unconscious level, and we can change them. Just by listening to this video, this is going to change your life. I guarantee it. I don't think it. I don't imagine it. I am telling you beyond a shadow of a doubt. The reason why they made this video is because I realized a lot of you have no idea that you're doing all this stuff on an unconscious level. Now, by knowing this, over the next couple of days, weeks, months, and years, you're going to start unraveling all of the limiting things that you have inside your mind. You are on your way to awesome, emotional freedom, and living an awesome life. It's time to kick ass. God bless you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this video had a huge impact on you. I already know it did. Wait and see what happens to your life in the next couple days, weeks, and months. Don't wait. Get to it. If you enjoyed this video, please click subscribe, click that bell, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. And remember, as always, you can help this channel out. You can make a donation. There's a PayPal link right there in the description box. And you can also buy one or more of my dating relationship books. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.